Hey guys, Sierra Bailey here with Accel Commercial Real Estate. The video you're watching ties into our event in June, Accelerate. If you want to learn more about what you see today, scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the description to get your tickets now before early bird pricing runs out. Enjoy the video.
Greg is our speaker tonight, and I'm going to let Greg say his last name. And the only reason I say that is because every time I try to say it, I butcher his last name.
So that's where all the fun goes away.
Yeah,
I love to
yeah.
hear everybody swear about it.
Greg Faricelli.
So
Is that close?
it depends on who you ask.
Oh,
So
okay.
that is correct. Our family says Faricelli. I don't know what's right, but yes.
Yeah.
You're probably more right than I am, but
Yeah.
we probably may have learned it wrong. But
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah. So Greg is it's hard for me to try to describe what Greg does because he's a realtor, he's an investor, he's a developer, he's a little bit of everything, right, when it comes to real estate. And so that's why we felt like, hey, it'd be a great opportunity to have Greg come and speak and kind of hear his story. And so we're going to kind of start there. And everybody seems to have an origin story, right, of how they got involved in real estate and got involved in what they're doing and all that. So I guess want to kind of ask Greg to open up with it to say, okay, so did you have maybe a mentor, or when you were younger, you go, hey, I want to do real estate, or kind of what's your story on how you really got into
When people ask me that, I really have no good story, right? 2009, I was an electrician, making 60, 70 a year, contract labor. When that crashed in 2009, I moved here to Tennessee because I had a friend here. And at that point, I had bought a house like right before the crash, of course, like my first house. I think I paid $260 and a short sold 3 months later for $60. So I was like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
So I came down here and I stopped paying my mortgage and everything. I knew it was coming. So I saved up a bunch of cash, came down here and didn't really know what I was going to do. That was in 2009. I was 31 at that time. And if I was for 6 months, I didn't really do that much of anything, just explore the town, got to meet people. Then, I was managing restaurants, random stuff like that. And once I made good money at the restaurants, I paid off all my debt, and I'm like, what am I going to do now? I'm not going to retire off of work managing restaurants and playing in downtown on Broadway every now and then, So I was like, real estate could be cool. I knew 0% of it. That was in 2015 when I got licensed in 2015, right at the beginning. Yeah. So 2015 rolls around. I started at this boutique brokerage, which I didn't know I was on a team, but I was on a team. And they did mostly wholesaling. Working with them, I kind of learned the basics of like how not to do it, right? Because I was there for about 6 to 9 months, and every deal was really stressful. And I had to start remembering what he told me to say to these people. I'm like, if I gotta remember what I'm telling people, then this is not. So I had no deals for the first 6 months. Then that last 6 months, I think I did 14, close 14. And that's when I was like, when I started, there was a lot of friction with the broker. It was just a mess. And then I went to Village Real Estate as an agent, and then I just started there till a few years back. Mostly over there, it was a whole different situation. But they didn't understand wholesaling and stuff. I did, but whatever. We made it work. And I had the absolute amazing mentors over there, like Bobby Noreen, Brian Copeland. They are significantly helpful in getting to me where I'm at. But, being over there for the first couple of years, I was just, learning how to do real estate as an agent. Like I didn't, just buy or sell, whatever. It could be wholesale, buy or sell. And then I want to say the second year was like a 30 transaction-ish year of a mix of everything.
Yeah.
And one of those deals was pretty random. I was calling sellers, and this guy's like, we negotiated a price. It was an RM20, 175, I think it was 175,000. I think we got like 11 units on it. And I was so bummed because he calls me, he's like, hey man, he's like, we got major title issues. It's gonna probably take a few months. I'll call you when it gets done. I'm like, sure. Well, 8 months later, he calls me, he's like, hey, you still interested? Same price and everything. I'm like, absolutely. So I was like, look, I was like, are you cool if you just take this price and like, I just throw some on top of it instead of like doing a listing or anything like that? He's like, oh yeah, I don't care. As long as I get perfect. So I ended up meeting one of the clients and my business partners now on that first deal, because he was from out of state looking for just random stuff. And I guess somebody sent my email blast over to him or whatever. And was able to secure a wholesale fee and all the listings on it. So that kind of catapulted into a little bit of a different area.
Yeah.
And that was probably about 3 years ago.
Yeah. So now, so fast forward to today.
Sure.
So you do, like you say, that's why I
Yep.
said it's hard to,
Yeah,
it's kind of, you can't put Greg in one little round
Yeah.
box there, right?
I guess it
Yeah.
started with like my first investment was like a piece of dirt that a buddy of mine, like, hey, I needed, he had he had half and I had half, and we were gonna rezone it. Well, we ended up actually buying the one next door and doing a big rezone. It's doubling our money on that. And that kind of like gave me, so what I did with this is how I like snowballed. Then I was like, cool. I think we were in it for like 120 or 130. We sold it for like 250 or 300, something like that. So I 1031 that money, and instead of just 1031, so this was a time when you can actually buy rentals. So I took some of that cash and I bought a 2 build lot to build 2 houses and sell. And then I had 2 down payments for 2 quads. So that's what kind of set the stage for like 2018. And then I was like, so some of my clients, what I would do when they would buy the land for, I was just a listing agent, but what I started doing was like the little deals, like, okay, they needed 60 grand. I'm like, I would give them 60 grand and they would just pay me on my money. And it wasn't a big deal, but it was like, I made double the commission. So, did that a few times and I had more capital, and then we just started, partnering and snowballing from there.
Yeah. So so rentals wise, how many rentals do you have today?
So I've about 35 doors ish,
Yeah.
in a few different buildings. Mostly, after next week when we sell Louisville, that'll be down to 35, and they're all pretty much the same exact type units in Clarksville,
Yeah.
scattered around.
Yeah.
I have one in Nashville. That's basically a hold situation. We have a GP that holds properties, and I guess I don't really consider that a rental, but it's being rented.
So how many are single family versus like a multi-unit type of a building?
Yeah, they're all multi-units except for 2 single family.
Yeah.
I don't really like single family that much. I just, those areas that they happen to be in.
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer just to hold on to them.
And then let's talk a little bit about your kind of land
Right. Yeah.
/development side of what you do as well.
So
and how did that kind of come
Yeah.
about for you?
So with that same partner with Rhythm, we started as we were, building and listing 50, 60 a year. We'd come across deals and just, kind of maybe make a 1 build, a 2 build, and just sell the dirt and make money. Wow, this is pretty cool. So, we probably do maybe one of those a month here and there. And over 2019 and 2020, we started doing some things a little bit bigger, but we started to not want to build anymore. They were just like, they kind of grew to doing different things and the market risk and stuff like that. So, probably about 6 months ago, we decided so I was like, well, we just kind of put our little development crew together. So we just focus on nothing but the larger development pieces, and we're not building really much of anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it became. It's just basically a pivot from building to just developing, because you can make a lot more money and with a lot less risk.
Yeah. All right. Okay. To let everybody know here, if you have questions, don't worry about waiting to the end here. If you have questions as we're going on,
They may have questions now.
Please ask
It's
them,
pretty basic.
from that standpoint. Tommy.
I guess, how involved are you in like shopping for land and trying to make sure you're, I guess, buying land? in
That's a
general?
good question, man. So here's how I kind of figured that. So there's two questions. Number one, like, what is the hardest way to make money in real estate? being a real estate agent, right? It's the lowest margin for the amount of work and time you put in, right? So I asked myself, I'm like, okay, so let me ask you this, like, what in real estate has the most value? What is the one thing in real estate that has more value than absolutely anything? Wrong. It's just the property and the control of the property. So I spend my time going after anything that, and I just spend my time on acquisition, just straight up going after properties. So I have made my model about just talking to people and then having people around me that will execute different exit strategies. You know, a rental and stuff like that, not a big deal. But, you know, I'm most likely not going to pull in all the, you know, the clients and stuff like that and doing all the development stuff. So we kind of separate things out with different people. But I think the most important thing is the more properties and the more contracts you have, the more control you have over everyone.
Did that answer your question there?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so how many, I mean, I know you got several different pieces of property as far as the land wise.
Mhm.
I know you get some stuff on West Trinity, I know you got some stuff out by the airport, I know you
Yeah.
got probably up in Goodlettsville and some of those.
West
others.
Nashville.
West
Central
Nashville,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So would you look for areas where, hey, I think there's development moving kind of in the path of development, how when you're going through the whole acquisition
Yes and
side of
no.
that.
Yes and no. So one thing is I still keep up with the original acquisition from all the single family two builds that we've always been hitting those areas, because you
Yeah.
might as well if you've been hitting the same areas for years. And then what I try to do is find like the larger type of assets, like, you know, you could go on tax record and find apartment buildings, large apartment buildings, anything zones like, you know, commercial, mixed use, stuff like that, that could have any type of structure on there,
Yeah.
or it could be vacant land. I like to start at the larger and then like work my way down. Like I'll spend more time on, you know, it's spending more time on finding these contact information, because you get a list of, 100 apartments. Well, you should know that list really well, but you're probably not going to have but 40 of those phone numbers. So it's the time of going to the Secretary of State websites and finding the registered agents and taking the time and building that list, because no one else is doing that. No one else is spending the time to find these people and mail them and call them and text them. And we're having some really good conversations doing that. And that helps us with like some of the larger stuff that we've had. And then some of them are just people that we've talked to for 3, 4, 5 years that, you know, have maybe the market has caught up to what they wanted in their price, or they were under contract with someone that couldn't fall through. So, you know, we're always following up with, you know, anytime somebody goes under contract, we follow up through that entire contract. Did they send the earnest money in? Did they, how long is the due diligence? When's the close date? Because I want to be right there if that thing doesn't close, especially if I know that whoever has that contract doesn't have a realistic contract. Like nobody's going to buy 20 acres and close in 30 days with 1,000 due diligence. I just know that, but they want to try to get that price. So I let them try to get that price. But when they don't, then we're there to, you know, pick it up where it left it off. Yeah.
So how many people do you have kind of on your team doing this?
So team is pretty small. We have myself. I have someone that does just retail contract paperwork, stuff like that, like real estate side.
Yeah.
Then I have a partner developer, and then we have someone that works with us also who's also a developer. He's more new and just like definitely helping with acquisition and helping learning with the engineers, and just, you know, he will be, you know, one of our, you know, equity partners for sure very soon.
Yeah.
And that's really the whole team. I do all the call. Well, no, I don't. I have a cold caller, and I have someone that will do like certain kind of marketing.
Yeah.
It could be random stuff. They'll help me build those lists and find those numbers, and, you know, maybe text or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you see, be sure to follow our Generational Wealth Learning series. On select Thursdays, we offer cutting-edge industry information that would normally cost thousands of dollars. And the best part, our education is absolutely free. If you register through our events page, you can join us live, either in person or over Zoom. In the meantime, like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss a beat.